Good morning, students. To be continue the chapter 6 respiratory system. What are the topics we have to see? Respiratory functions, respiratory organs in various organisms, mechanism of breathing, exchange of gases, transport of gases, regulation of respiration, problems in oxygen transport, disorders of the respiratory system, effects of smoking. So this type of the questions asking in the lesson. First one, we inhale and exhale air is very essential to uh, life process, leading the life process. Why is breathing is so important for life? So the human body actually can survive 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, but only 3 minutes without air. Unless you are one of those freaky divers, they can suggest it. Without air, the brain actually starves oxygen, suffocated, not enough the oxygen in the brain. Normal body functions restrict and leading to die, isn't it? So that makes breathing high on the priority list for the human life. This is very important. So until the breathing, we couldn't survive in the world. Without air, we couldn't be alive. So we can't live without the breathing as it brings us oxygen. We breathe on average 1700 to 2100 times a day. And next question, we move to next question. What happens when we breathe? When we breathing time, that is in or inhale, your diaphragm contracts. You have to see this diagram. So this diagram, inspiration and expiration, two type of the process happening. Rib cage and the lungs volume when you inhale the air. Lungs volume increases, lungs volume decreases when you exhale the carbon dioxide gases from out of the lungs region. So this is the time the rib cage is moving up and down. The moving downside when they inhale and moving upside when they exhale. So this is the process happening in our lungs region. Your diaphragm means in attached into the lungs region to the stomach. Okay, so your diaphragm contract and moving downward when inhaling time. The increases the spaces your chest cavity. Thoracic cavity the chest cavity சொல்லுவோம். And your lungs expand into it. The muscles between your ribs also helpful to enlarge the chest cavity. They contract to pull your rib cage both upward and outward when you inhale. ஏரை வந்து inhale பண்ணும்போது diaphragm moving downward and chest cavity, that is thoracic cavity, is enlarged with the help of rib cage and the lungs region expand. So that time the diaphragm is contract. This is very important. And the next process, exhale. Simultaneously expiration, that is exhale, releasing the air from out of the lungs region. The diaphragm is moving upward and the chest cavity, thoracic cavity, with the help of a rib cage is decreases the volume, spaces of the lungs region, that is volume of the lungs region decreases when you inhale. So these two type of the processes happening in our lungs region. Why energy is required for the body to perform various life process? So this is very important. Energy is required for the body to perform various life process. So whatever we do the work need of some energy. So inside of our every cell, the energy is converted to release, okay, to produce the energy and release the energy. So this process is carry out our life process fully. Energy is required to break down and build up molecules and to transport the molecules across the plasma membranes, cells to cell, This to this. Okay, so the energy is very important for doing any activities in our body. Where does energy come from? Already we learned in the lower classes. We get it from energy, animals, plants. Most of the energy comes from the sun, either direct or indirect. Most life forms on earth get their energy from the sun. எல்லா அனிமல்ஸுமே வந்து டிபெண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கக்கூடிய ஒன் ஆஃப் த சோர்ஸ் வந்து சன். And plants is use also photosynthesis. Plants use photosynthesis to capture the sunlight, and herbivores eat those plants to obtain energy, and carnivores eat the herbivores, and decomposers digest plant and animal matter. That is shortly we have to term as a food chain bar. One animal depend upon the another animal. Main thing, the food chain is very important. Already you learned what is food chain. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும்ல, where does energy come from? Plants as well as in the animals. So this is the introduction in our chapter. We eat food for energy. So what is the purpose we eat food items? எனர்ஜிக்காக தான். ஸோ தோ above raised questions look disconnected. இங்கே பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா we should know that the process of breathing is connected to the process of release of energy from food. ஃபுட்டிலேருந்து கன்வர்சபிள் ப்ராசஸ் எப்படி நடக்குது அப்படிங்கிறத வந்து நீங்கள் சைக்கிளிங் வந்து லேர்ன் பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க, சைக்கிள்ஸ். சரியா? ஸோ கண்டிப்பாக நம்ம தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. Oxygen is utilized by the organisms to break down the biomolecules like glucose and to derive energy. ஆக்சிஜன் வந்து பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா ஆர்கானிசம்ஸ், மோஸ்ட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஆர்கானிசம்ஸ் யூட்டிலைஸ்டு பை த ஆக்சிஜன் that same time break down the chemical molecules glucose and to derive as a energy. During the breakdown of carbon dioxide, which is harmful gas, is also released. Okay va? So it's very obvious the oxygen has to be provided to the cells continuously and carbon dioxide to be released immediately by the cells. So when the inhale and exhalation process takes place in the alveoli and bronchioles bring back of the alveoli and bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, larynx, pharynx and the nose and in the mouth region. Okay va? So when the oxygen is inhaled, that time simultaneously carbon dioxide is released out from the lungs region. So need of respiratory system is very, very essential of life. We have discussed in the previous chapter how food provides energy for growth and repair of the tissues. Already நம்ம previous chapterல வந்து டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். How does food molecules is digestion lessonல நம்ம லேர்ன் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். How does a food molecules is convert into simpler, smaller absorbable molecules takes place in the stomach region. Digestive system fully takes place. At last, small intestine only completed the digestive process. Listening. So, food provide energy for growth of the or build-up of the body and repair of tissues, remold or repair of the tissues in the animal's body. This is the purpose only. Energy is required. As mentioned earlier, along with the food and oxygen is necessary for breakdown of glucose to energy. Oxygen வந்து glucose to energy convert ஆகணும் அப்படின்னா with the presence of oxygen is very essential. Okay va? This is the process aerobic process. And anaerobic processலையுமே வந்து convertible process temporarily making ATP energy to supply if it is not enough in the oxygen body, human body or animal's body. Oxygen போதுமான அளவு இல்லை அப்படின்னா அந்த டைமில் anaerobic process வந்து நடக்கும். That is called cellular respiration. So இங்கே வந்து oxygen is very, very essential for the breakdown of the glucose to convert into energy. So in this chapter we shall discuss the respiratory organs of the human, the mechanism of breathing, exchange of gases and transport of gases, few respiratory disorders பார்க்க போகிறோம். The term respiration refers to exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the environment and the cells of our body. ஸோ அட்மாஸ்பியருக்கும் நம்மளோட பாடி செல்ஸுக்கும் இடையில நடக்கக்கூடிய எக்ஸ்சேஞ்ச் ப்ராசஸ் நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறோம். ஸோ அதை தான் ரெஸ்பிரேஷன் சொல்கிறாங்க. ஸோ வேறு ஆர்கானிக் நியூட்ரியன்ஸ் அட் த சேம் டைம். ஸோ ரெஸ்பிரேஷன் நடக்கும்போதே அந்த டைமில் என்ன நடக்கும் நம்ம பாடியில் அப்படின்னா, வித் த ஹெல்ப் ஆஃப் என்சைம்ஸ்னால நியூட்ரியன்ஸ் we got the nutrients from all the plants and as well as in the animals breakdown process. So breakdown ஆகி என்னாகும், எனர்ஜியாக